Well, aren't you the lucky one? Huh? You've stumbled upon a mini pod. This is an episode that's shorter than our regular episodes. We don't cover as much ground, but we still try to have a little bit of fun. And on this mini pod, I'm going to be interviewing Evie. No last name because Evie is only 6 years old. Evie lives in Wyoming, and believe it or not, she listens to a podcast every single night that she loves. Now, how did Evie find out about Podfulness? Because she's not an avid listener, right? She's not quite in the demographic that I'm going for, but her mom listens to the show, and her mom thought it would be fun if I interviewed Evie. Now, even though she's only 6, she does have a favorite podcast that we listen to, and on the show, we don't discriminate. We invite all ages to come on the show and talk about whatever podcast they love and they're passionate about. So here is a mini pod with Evie as my special guest. Now keep in mind, she's 6 years old. She's recording this meeting while she's looking at herself on camera, so that can be a little distracting, but we still had fun. So sit back, relax, and here is a special interview with our youngest guest ever, Evie. Let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of
Mini
Podfulness. Let's get started.
Evie, I'm kind of in a grumpy mood today. I have to be honest with you. I've had kind of a rough day. So it's your job to make sure that I feel more joyful when we're done talking. So can you do that for me? Yep. Okay. So I'm talking right now to Evie. And Evie, how old are you?
6.
You're 6 years old. You are the youngest person to ever be on this podcast. How do you feel about that? Okay, you just shrugged your shoulders. Now, I need to let you know something. People at home can only hear you. They can't see you. So you're going to have to say, I shrugged my shoulders when you shrug your shoulders, okay? Can you handle that? Okay. So Evie is a little shy right now. Evie, what grade are you in?
First,
First grade. And what town do you live in?
Wyoming.
You live in Wyoming. Wow. What's it like living in Wyoming?
Lots of snow.
A lot of snow. What else do you have there? What's summer like? Is summer nice?
July 20th is my birthday in the summer, and so I get to have a little, we had a water party, and I had a slipping slide.
Slip and slide. Oh, slip and slides are the best. Now, do you have any brothers or sisters?
2 brothers.
And how old are they?
One's 13 and one's 12.
What are your brothers like?
Ben's the one that's 12. I usually, me and him fight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And at dinner, we just kick each other.
Oh, that's so sweet. Really?
Just
All
kick
through dinner? Do you have bruises on your legs?
No.
No. Okay, that's good. So have you ever been on a podcast before?
No.
No. Have you ever listened to Podfulness?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's my podcast, right? So how did you hear about Podfulness? How do you know about it?
Because my Aunt Brooklyn did it.
Your Aunt Brooklyn, she was on the 2nd episode of Podfulness. So she's your aunt. That's right. That's very cool. So you two have that in common now. You've both been on Podfulness. So do you know why we're here? Do you know why you're talking to me?
So you can learn about me.
I want to learn about you, right? And I also want to learn about what your favorite podcast is and why it's your favorite podcast. So before we get to your favorite podcast, we need to talk about nighttime routine. Okay? So at night, when you're getting ready for bed, what do you do first? Do you put on your PJs first? Do you brush your teeth? What is your bedtime routine?
PJs.
PJs, gotcha. And then what?
Then bed.
You don't even brush your teeth? What do you mean you don't brush your teeth? Do you brush in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite stuffed animal?
I got this one from Target, and her name's Flippy, and it's a walrus and a squishmallow.
A squishmallow? Is that like a marshmallow? What's a squishmallow?
A squishmallow, it's a round thing. It's a round squishy, and when you squeeze it, it's really squishy.
Gotcha. And what about Flippy? Is Flippy kind of squishy?
He's really squishy, and he's purple and white.
Oh, he sounds perfect. And when you go to bed at night, there's a podcast that you listen to, right? Now, what is that podcast called?
Sleep Tight Stories.
Sleep Tight Stories. So tell me about this podcast that you listen to. What do you like about it?
That it tells me really good stories.
Mm-hmm. Are they stories you've heard before?
No, except Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yep. And when you listen to Goldilocks, is it the same story you know, or did Sleep Tight Stories make it a little different?
Make it a little different.
Yeah. So I listened to that podcast too, because I wanted to see what it was all about. And I noticed that the woman that tells the stories, she started with birthdays, right? She'll wish different listeners happy birthdays. Has she ever wished you a happy birthday?
No,
Not yet? Well, maybe on July 20th she will. You never know. And do you like hearing other people's birthday? Is that fun for you?
we always skip that.
Oh, you skipped that part. Okay. Something else I noticed, which I liked, is that there are no commercials. You know what a commercial is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they try to sell you something, but this had no commercials. And then as I'm listening to this podcast and they tell a story, it always ends the same way, right? I think she says, good night, sleep tight. Now, do you know
Yeah.
what that means? What does sleep tight mean?
When sometimes my mom says that to me and my dad, and they snug me in really tight, and then you sleep tight.
Yep. Can I tell you why that expression is what it is? A long time ago, people didn't have springs in their mattress. You know how when you lay down on your mattress, it's kind of springy? And what they used to use in the old days was ropes. They would tie ropes really tight, and that would keep the mattress from falling down onto the ground. So that's why they said sleep tight, because they wanted to make sure your bed was tight. Right. Oh, if people want to, they can go to sleeptightstories.org to hear more, but you just listen on your phone. Is that right? Or your iPad? How do you listen?
My mom tells her on her iPad or her phone.
How long are these stories?
I don't know.
You don't, just they're long enough. Yeah, you're probably not keeping a stopwatch in your hand, are you? And timing them. Do they make you sleepy, or when they're over, do you want more?
I want more.
You want more. So do you ever fall asleep during a story, though?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? And is it always the same person reading the story to you, or are there different people?
Same person.
Same person? And what do you like about the way she tells stories?
That she reads slow so I can hear it more.
Do you have a favorite bedtime story that your mom or your dad tells you?
They don't tell me yet. I just read it myself. Green eggs and ham.
Oh, Green Eggs and Ham, Dr. Seuss, right? Oh, that is a good one. His rhymes are so much fun. Evie, why do you think kids like stories so much?
Because they're fun.
Because they're fun? And what else?
Because they're surprising.
Surprising. I like that. Have you ever made up a story, Evie?
Yeah.
Really? What's it called and what's it about?
The princess cat and her owner, but not the owner part. It's about the cat and the owner.
And what's the cat's name?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
It's just the princess cat.
Do you have a cat?
I like cats, but I'm allergic.
Well, are you allergic to tigers and lions? Because those are cats. Have you ever tried to pet a tiger?
No.
That's a smart idea. So this podcast, it's your favorite. And usually people that come on the show, they talk about podcasts where guests are being interviewed, or we talk about science and things like that. but this one's just nice. If you are having trouble going to sleep, you turn on Sleep Time Stories, tells you a nice story, it relaxes you, and you go off to sleep. Now, Evie, when my boys were young, I used to read to them. That was my favorite part of the day, to read them stories. When my boys were younger, we used to read Miss Spider's Tea Party. That was a favorite. Might have to look that one up. And of course, Dr. Seuss books. But when we were at the dinner table, there was a game that we used to love playing called Would You Rather. Have you ever played Would You Rather?
Yes.
Okay. So there is a game where you can pick up cards and read what's on the card, but we like to make up our own scenarios, our own Would You Rather. So can I play that with you right now? Okay, so let's get ready for a round of Would You Rather.
Podfulness.
So Evie, would you rather have a pet hippo or a pet giraffe?
Pet giraffe. It's my favorite animal.
It's really your favorite animal? So why would you like a pet giraffe?
Because it's next tall and it's yellow and brown.
Would you rather win $5 million or wake up happy every single morning?
Wake up happy every single morning.
Evie, that is the greatest answer in the world. I'm so glad you said that. I love that. Would you rather live on Mars or live on the moon?
Mars.
Mars?
Really?
How come?
Because it's a bright red.
And you like the color red. These are all good reasons, Evie. Would you rather eat a 10-foot worm or eat 10-foot-long spiders?
I don't want to eat neither.
Evie, you got to choose. Do you want to eat a 10-foot worm or do you want to eat 10 spiders?
Worm.
Worm, yeah. How would you make it? Would you grill it? Would you fry it? Would you cover it in ketchup?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably just eat it fast. All right, are you ready? Let's do a couple more. Would you rather swim in a pool filled with chocolate sauce or take a bath in a tub filled with honey?
Pool with chocolate sauce.
Now, why is that?
Because my favorite food is chocolate.
I'm learning a lot about you. Giraffes and chocolate. I like your style, Evie. And here's the last question. Are you ready? Would you rather have an extra arm or an extra foot? If you had an extra arm, you could really play piano well, right? If you had an extra arm, you'd be so good at sports. If you had an extra leg, you'd be really fast. You'd be so good at soccer. So which would you rather have? You love soccer, so you'd rather have an extra foot? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll try to get you an extra foot, okay? If I find one, should I mail it to you?
No.
Okay. Well, Evie, you did it. You brought me joy. You took me from my grumpy mood and put me in a better mood. So thank you for that. So audience, that was Evie, my new friend from Wyoming. She listens to, what's the name of your podcast again that you always listen to?
Sleep Tight Stories.
Sleep Tight Stories, which is good for anyone of any age. And this has been a mini pod. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thank you, Evie, for coming on the show. And we will see you next time on a brand new episode of Mini
Podfulness.